Hello everyone, my name is Dakoba and welcome back to Satisfactory. Today we're going to be building this reinforced iron plate factory which produces a little over 5 reinforced iron plates per minute. Now reinforced iron plates are one of the essential early game components of Satisfactory, and it's something that you're going to need to automate as soon as you get into Tier 2. We're going to need a ton of these. They are components for our first space elevator part. They are the Mark II belt materials, which is going to double the throughput capacity of all of our factories. And we're going to need a ton of these throughout the game for constructors and assemblers, so there's something we're going to be building from this point forward. But today we're going to get started with a smaller factory producing 5.6 reinforced iron plates per minute. Let's get into it. Alright, now we are here in a copy of our world that has creative mode applied to it. I went in, I created a duplicate save, and I enabled creative mode in that duplicate save so that we could come in here and test out some designs. And today, we're going to look at 2 designs for reinforced iron plates. The first one we're going to look at is using all of the default recipes so we can get a sense for how that factory works and how complex it is. Next, we're going to implement some of the alternate recipes that we got in our last episode and see how we can simplify that and see if we can come up with a simpler or more efficient design using those. Alright, now this is the basic design for a factory that uses all of the default recipes to produce 5 reinforced iron plates per minute. We're going to have 2 smelters producing iron ingots out of iron ore. Those would produce a total of 60 iron ingots per minute. 15 of those iron ingots would come into this first constructor to be turned into iron rods, which are then sent into 2 constructors to turn those 15 iron rods into 60 screws per minute, which is exactly as many as we need for our assembly. The remaining 45 iron ingots would be sent into 2 other constructors to be turned into 30 iron plates per minute, again exactly as we need, making this a nice round 60 iron ingots per minute. Now let's take a look at a design that uses the stitched iron plate alternate recipe along with the iron wire alternate recipe. Alright, now here we have a design for a factory that uses the alternate recipes. We have the assembler producing 5.625 reinforced iron plates per minute using the stitched iron plate alternate recipe. Feeding into that, we have 2 constructors producing wire using the iron wire recipe. Each of these is set to produce 18.75 wire per minute. Also feeding into our assembler is another constructor producing 18.75 iron plates per minute. So this is a sort of 2-to-1 ratio between the wiring and the plates. Now altogether, this actually saves us a little bit on iron as well. It only uses about 50 iron per minute instead of the 60 on the other. So we would need to undertune our smelters and our miner in order to make sure that we're not wasting any power here. Now ultimately, the stitched iron plate recipe is better. It uses a smaller footprint, less machinery, less power, and less input resources, and produces more reinforced iron plates. So that's the design we're going to go with today. So we're going to pop back over into our world and build this in the form of a time lapse. Let's get into it. Alright, and we can see our reinforced iron plates coming down the conveyor line into their storage container, meaning this factory is a success and it's doing everything we want it to do. Now you may have also noticed that we built this platform much larger than we needed. That's because we're going to be placing our rotor factory here in our next episode. Rotors are sort of a companion item to reinforced iron plates, and they're going to round out all of our production for the early game. They're the last thing we're going to need to unlock all of our tier 2 milestones, and they're also the second critical component for our space elevator parts. Once we get that rotor factory built, we'll be able to move into some more advanced topics within the game, things like setting up permanent power infrastructure using coal and building more interesting and complex factories as we advance into the later tiers. Alright, and that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to spend some time with me in the world of Satisfactory. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you have, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. As always, my name is Ben Dakova, and I hope you have an efficient day. I'll see you soon.